The Mysterious 13, Unveiling the Unlucky Number in History and Mythology. Story 1. Over 2,000 years ago in Judea, Jesus, a Jew, taught people to love God and their neighbors. He performed many miracles, leading some to believe that he was the Son of God. Jesus had 12 disciples who followed him, learning and spreading his teachings. During the Jewish celebration of Passover, Jesus and his disciples shared their Last Supper together. At this meal, Jesus told them that he would die for their sins and used bread and wine as symbols of his body and blood for them to remember him by. Jesus also revealed that one of the disciples would betray him. That disciple was Judas, who was tempted by the devil and accepted 30 pieces of silver as the price for betraying Jesus. Judas led a group of people armed with swords and clubs to where Jesus was and identified Jesus to them with a kiss. They then arrested Jesus and brought him before the Jewish leaders. The Jewish leaders accused Jesus of blasphemy and sent him to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate found no fault in Jesus, but to appease the Jews and quell a riot, he agreed to hand Jesus over to soldiers to be crucified. Jesus suffered greatly on the cross, enduring pain and mockery. In the end, he cried out, "It is finished," and then he died. A Roman soldier pierced Jesus' side with a spear, causing blood and water to flow out. Jesus' friends took his body down from the cross, wrapped it up, and placed it in a new tomb. Some soldiers were sent to guard the tomb to prevent anyone from stealing Jesus' body. However, on the third morning, when some women came to the tomb, they found that the stone had been rolled away and the tomb was empty. An angel told them that Jesus had risen from the dead and asked them to tell the other disciples. After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples and others and taught them some things. Finally, he ascended into heaven and sat at the right hand of God. This story is detailed in the Bible. Therefore, in Western culture, the number 13 is often associated with betrayal and death. Story 2. In Nordic culture, 13 is also considered an unlucky number. According to legend, Baldur is the god of light, his smile can illuminate the whole world. His parents are Odin and Frigg, his brother is Hoda, and his wife is Nanna. He lives in Breidablik, where there is no evil or impurity. One day, Baldur had a terrible dream that he was killed. He told his parents about the dream, and they were very worried. Frigg decided to ask all creatures to swear not to harm Baldur. She ran through heaven and earth, sea and land, and all animals, plants, stones, and metals agreed to her. Only a small mistletoe did not swear because Frigg thought it was too insignificant to mention. Frigg returned to Asgard and told Baldur and the other gods what she had done. Everyone was happy for Baldur, so they held a banquet with 12 guests including Baldur. At the banquet, they started playing a game where they threw various weapons at Baldur to see if they could hurt him. Baldur also accepted the game with a smile, feeling safe. However, there was an unwelcome guest at the scene. He was the 13th person, Loki. Loki is the god of fire and also a trickster and prankster. He was jealous of Baldur's beauty and popularity and wanted to ruin his happiness. He disguised himself as an old woman, walked up to Frigg, and asked her why everyone was playing this game. Frigg told him about her oath to all things not to harm Baldur, and also said that only a mistletoe did not swear. Loki was overjoyed when he heard this. He immediately left Frigg and went to find the mistletoe. Loki found the mistletoe, broke off a branch, and used magic to make it hard and sharp. Then he returned to Asgard and walked up to Hoda. Hoda is the god of darkness, he is blind and cannot participate in the game. Loki said to him, "Hoda, why don't you play with your brother? Don't you want to show him your respect? I can help you, I have a small stick that you can throw at Baldur. I will tell you the direction." Hoda listened to Loki's words and thought it made sense, so he took the small stick. Loki guided his arm and let him aim at Baldur. At this moment, a sharp sound cut through the air. Baldur fell to the ground with blood gushing from his chest. The small stick turned out to be a deadly arrow that pierced Baldur's heart. Hoda threw away the arrow in horror. He couldn't believe what he had just done. Loki laughed secretly, his plan had succeeded. Baldur's death plunged all the gods into grief. They placed his body on his big ship for cremation. Odin placed his magic ring Draupnir on him as a funeral gift. Baldur's wife Nanna also died of excessive grief and was placed next to Baldur. Thor ignited the fire with his thunder hammer, and the ship sailed into the distance with flames. Frigg refused to give up hope. She asked Hermod to ride Odin's eight-legged horse Sleipnir to go to the underworld and ask Hela to return Baldur. Hela said that as long as all creatures weep for Baldur, she will agree to return him. Hermod returned to Asgard and told everyone about this condition. All gods and creatures wept for Baldur, only a giantess named Thok refused to cry. She said, "Let Baldur stay in the underworld, I don't care about him." In fact, this giantess was Loki in disguise. He once again prevented Baldur's resurrection. In the end, the gods discovered Loki's crime. They caught him and tortured him with snake venom until twilight of the gods came. And Baldur stayed in the underworld forever until the day of world rebirth. This is why number 13 is also considered unlucky in Norse culture. Story 3. In medieval Europe, the 13th day of each month was always filled with mystery and terror. It was said that on this day, 12 witches would gather together to hold a mysterious carnival night. This night was filled with an atmosphere of mystery and terror, because people believed that the 13th participant was none other than the devil Satan himself. As night fell and moonlight spilled over the ancient castle, the witches began their ritual. They formed a circle, hand in hand, whispering incantations. Their eyes sparkled with a strange light, as if they could see through the darkness. As the ritual progressed, the atmosphere became more and more tense. Suddenly, a cold wind blew through, the fire flickered, as if something was approaching. At this moment, Satan appeared. His appearance was always accompanied by terror and chaos, bringing disaster to people. People believed that the 13th day was the most unlucky day because Satan's power reached its peak on this day. His appearance filled people with fear but also awe for the unknown power. In these stories and legends, although 13 seems to be an unlucky and fearful number, some people also saw hope. They believed that as long as they had the courage to face fear, they could find a way to overcome it. They sought light in the darkness and ultimately conquered fear.